high body count equals no attachment. Let me go ahead and play this clip.
With as many people as possible is not in any way affecting how you see relationships, affecting how you relate to women, and just one day, you're just gonna wake up and you're gonna say, it's her. She's the one. And all of my behavior is going to stop at hello. And I'm going to have the discipline to stop at hello. I'm not going to have any temptation. I'm not going to betray myself. I'm not going to betray her. But what I've been mastering is self-betrayal. What I've been practicing is self-betrayal. But because it's you, it's going to be different. That's ludicrous. That doesn't...
Definition of insanity.
It is insanity, because whatever we practice, we master. And when you want to pivot, you literally have to start practicing something else. You got to unlearn. You've got to shift appetite. You got to create accountability. You got to do a whole lot of stuff, because just desire is not going to be enough.
And it's not just sex. It's so much deeper than that. It's an energy exchange. It's a spiritual exchange.
Right.
It's so much more to it than just casual sex.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
With the energy exchange. That they lost me right there. The energy exchange, it's over.
Women with their little stupid terms is just like hilarious. It's like they all went to the same school to learn these stupid ass terms.
Hold on, y'all. Let me go ahead and get some of the ladies in. Let me start off with Precious, Lady Di, and Paradise.
I don't know if a woman can tell a man that a certain woman is not going to change his mind or change his ways. I don't know if a woman can give that advice. I know, what I will say though is that when you practice certain things in singleness, that when you do, decide to be in a relationship, it may be difficult at first. And so that's why it is important to practice certain things in singlehood, so you can ease into a relationship knowing that you're not still sleeping with all these girls because it's just a hobby. Some guys do practice semen retention. Some guys do practice, hey, look, I'm not going to be out here and being crazy. I'm just going to be focused on my goals, focused on my money, focused on my grind. But that's not to say that when he runs into a certain woman that he may not change. So I don't know if I can necessarily listen to them when they say that. But I do stick to, what you do in your singleness. If you're going out every single weekend, if you partying every single weekend, then, settling down into a relationship may not be the move for you because you're so used to being on the move. I know that a lot of men do say that it does take a certain type of woman or a certain woman, whoever that woman is, I guess only that man knows. But it does take her for him to, see things differently, move a little differently. So I don't know. I don't know if I can get down 100% with what they're saying. But, when she mentioned when you practice something over and over again, you are mastering that thing. So that's the only thing that I could take out of what they were saying. High body count equals no attachment. I think it does go back to, I'm going to agree with what Mr. Let Go said. It is childhood trauma, honestly. And I think that people use sex as trying to, cure a symptom of childhood trauma, but you're not getting to the root of it. You're not killing it at the root. So you're going to use sex, you're going to use pornography, whatever it is, to try to cure a symptom of your trauma, your issues, whatever it is you haven't, necessarily gotten over. But like I said, I do think that she was right, and what you practice is what you're going to master. So unless you unravel, unless you kind of cut back, and get ready for the life that you want, it is going to be difficult.
And it goes to the actual why. So, and that's the reason why I said what I said earlier. Telling somebody not to have sex and they want to have sex, that's not going to change nothing. But when you like unravel shit and get an understanding why they want to have casual sex is due to the fact that they're dealing with all this trauma. Now you could deal with the back end shit. And when you deal with the back end shit, they no longer have this insatiable need to cope with what's hurting them emotionally. Therefore, they'll stop having casual sex.
All right, go ahead, Lady Di.
So if you wasn't raped or molested or anything, I don't see how having sex is coping with having a failed relationship. That's an excuse. As far as having a high body count is no attachment. I think having a high body count is having an attachment, because some of these ladies that have this extreme body count, they're not with nobody. They're not married. They don't. A lot of them don't have. They have kids, but they don't have a family. Like they didn't, have a child with their husband. A lot of these women are having kids, but they don't have the man with them. They're kicking them out the house. So I believe that high body count, you have an attachment with these men that you're having sex with. That's why you are making excuses not to be with somebody. You're throwing all these excuses about why men are no good and I can't find what I want, is because you comparing the man to all these men you had relationship with. And you probably want a relationship with these men that you had sex with, but they didn't want a relationship with you. So now you're going to sit here and keep building your body count because you don't trust men and you think men are dogs, but you walking around giving your hoo-ha to whoever you want. So who's the real dog? I don't understand that. But I don't see how you can use sex as a coping mechanism. Sex doesn't do nothing for you. It just gives you, I guess, that pleasure, but it's not voiding your issues. So
no, that's why it's a coping mechanism. A coping mechanism is smoking cigarettes because you're stressed, smoking crack because you're this, having sex, eating ice cream because you feel a certain kind of way. It's all about dopamine. Sex gives you dopamine. So whatever gives you dopamine is most likely, not always, a coping mechanism. Ice cream, dick is the same shit.
No. So the reason why I don't look at it as the same, I understand, using drugs and eating a whole bunch of food as an addiction is one thing. But when you're having sex, you have to get another person to have sex with you. And you got to keep doing that over and over again. You're like attaching yourself to multiple people versus you just eating the ice cream and just keep buying the damn ice cream over and over. That's between you and the ice cream. That ice cream and the crack or whatever it is, that's not a person. But you keep going to a person. Matters.
We're talking about see, we got receptors, we got oxytocin, we have dopamine receptors. Okay. This is an actual hormone. And in order to get that feeling of dopamine, it's going to be certain things. And one of those things is sex. Whether you're having sex with a person or a doll, it's still dopamine. I'm talking about the actual hormone dopamine. Ice cream, crack, sex, all dopamine. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but
random sex, not casual sex.
Random sex, you can do that, like you said, with a doll, novelties. You use that, but you getting with a person, that is a different conversation, because now you got somebody else connected.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Well, that's why it's wrapped up in trauma, lady guy. That's why it's wrapped up in trauma, because now you're pulling other people into
your coping mechanism. Right.
You actually dealing with what's wrong with you. That's the fucked up part about it, when you bringing somebody else into it. And that's usually when people are only trying to mitigate the symptoms, is when they usually bring other people into it, because they haven't done what they needed to do on their own to get rid of the trauma or get over it.
Escape.
Y'all know how catching a nut can literally make you forget about all your problems? Like, that's a real thing.
What?